Red Year. The year 4E05 came to be known as the Red Year, due to the fulfillment of the Nerevarine prophecy and the disappearance of Vivec in the late Third Era. With the warrior poet Tribune gone, the magic-keeping Bar Dao began to weaken. Bar Dao was a celestial rock which hovered above Vivec City. An ingenium powered by souls was created to hold the moon in place, which worked until the first few years of the Fourth Era, when a Dunmer named Sul destroyed the ingenium in an attempt to save his lover. Finally freed of its stasis, the moon hit the city with the full strength of its original descent, triggering a series of natural disasters, notably the eruption of Red Mountain on the 3rd of Sun's Dawn, which devastated Vvardenfell and the province as a whole. Vivec City received the full brunt of Bar Dao's impact, and settlements across the island were destroyed by the resulting eruption of Red Mountain. The Red Year didn't heavily affect Mournhold itself, but their citizens started receiving reports of widespread devastation in Vivec City, Sadrith Mora, Balmora, and Aldrun. Relief efforts began almost a month after the mountain erupted. It was actually a directive that came from the House Redoran Councillor that was living in Mournhold at the time. For years afterward, the Dunmer people fled across Tamriel seeking refuge, with many relocating to Skyrim and the small island of Solstheim northwest of Vvardenfell. Finally, the Dunmer began the long and painful process of rebuilding Vvardenfell. After the Red Year, Mournhold, Morrowind's capital, was permanently moved to the Redoran stronghold of Blacklight far to the north. The disaster of the Red Year effectively ended the ascendancy of the Tribunal Temple and the mainstream worship of the Tribunal as gods.
Very sad story. So, the events of Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind took place in the year 3E427, and the events of Oblivion and the Oblivion Crisis took place 5 or 6 years after the events of the Morrowind story. And just for other information, the events of Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim took place in the year 4E201, that's 200 years after the events of Oblivion, right? So the Red Year happened in 4E05, just 5 years after the Oblivion Crisis was resolved. The fact that, such a cataclysm happened just 10 to 15 years from the events that are happening in this game. Some people don't like it, that all the settings and the people that you come to love over the years of gameplay are mercilessly annihilated in the same lifetime. I can understand, if the Bardo destroyed Vivec City and the towns of Morrowind after, say, 100 years. For this to happen so soon after the 2 games is a bit unsettling. I don't know. I don't know what you think about it, so definitely write in the comments below. There's a pretty interesting connection between this event and the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim game. So this is Morrowind and Vvardenfell, right? Now this entire thing. Apparently, just west of Windham, near the border of between Windham and Skyrim and Morrowind, there's some sort of structure there that you can actually see in the game in Skyrim. Refuge's Rest. Refuge's Rest is a small ruined tower east of Windhelm, close to the Morrowind border. If you go northeast from Windham, passing these farms, and you go towards the border of Morrowind in Skyrim, okay, you can actually find this building. And this building was constructed 200 years back when refugees from Morrowind were flooding into Skyrim. It is the last building before the border is reached, and it was once an important meeting place for refugees from Morrowind following the Red Year. They had a kind of a camp here where you could meet, and the Dunmer people could settle down here or whatever. And 200 years since then, it's all abandoned now, and the foundation is beginning to collapse and stripped and sunken into the ground. And there are apparently some books which talks about what the Dunmer did when they came to Skyrim during the year of the Red Year. Pretty interesting. I love how the way they connect the lore in Skyrim and what happened 200 years earlier. Just love it. I just love it. And if you played Skyrim, when you visit Solstheim as part of the DLC, Dragonborn DLC, you actually end up landing up in Rivenrock, and you see a lot of Dunmer people there. So they are the descendants of these people who migrated 200 years earlier. Pretty fascinating if you think about it.